Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Sheila Hession. I'm the Executive Director of Sales at the MGM National Harbor, and I'm Chair of the HSMAI DC Chapter Advisory Board. Today, we're continuing the mission of HSMAI, which is to fuel sales, inspire marketing, and optimize revenue. And since we're not able to meet in person, we're continuing our educational efforts virtually. This is the 8th webinar in our pandemic series, and we're so thankful that you've joined us today. Our topic is the 4 R's to your career refresh, which is both timely and important. Whether you're furloughed or laid off, going back to work may look different for so many in our industry. Your role may have changed, or you may have changed roles. Our speaker, Jaquel Tucker, will walk us through her 4 R's of reposition, reinvent, rebrand, and relaunch. But before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about her. Jaquel Tucker was originally from Jamaica and has been in the hospitality industry for over 25 years, earning her hotel, restaurant, and tourism management degree at the University of Maine. As a former director of sales marketing, she's worked with New Jersey, New York, and Atlanta markets. In 2016, she transitioned from employee to entrepreneur, successfully launching her nonprofit, the Jamaica Project USA, and her consulting, task force, and training company, Global Hospitality Expert Solutions. In 2019, she published her first book titled, It's Time for Your Transition. During this COVID-19 pandemic, Jaquel repositioned, rebranded, and relaunched her company to the J. Tucker Group. Her big vision is helping individuals and businesses optimize their potential, maximize their performance, and create rewarding experiences. And on a personal note, I had the wonderful opportunity of meeting Jaquel 10 years ago when we worked for the same management company, and I've been a fan of hers ever since. For those listening in, if you have any questions for Jaquel, please enter them into the question box and we'll be sure they get addressed. Also, please note that you will receive a link to today's recording. With that, Jaquel, take it away.
Thank you, Sheila. I am so excited, just thrilled for this opportunity to engage with my hospitality professionals today. And it's so important what we're going to be talking about today because it's the foundation of everything that's going to inspire, change, and motivate us and basically dictate how we're going to come out on the other side of this. So if you'll just engage with me today, I'm going to go through this presentation. And please feel free to share your questions. There will be, at the halfway point where I will ask for questions, I'll be able to answer questions then, and also at the end. So with that, I'd like to go ahead, get started, and to say thank you, HSMAI, the Washington and DC chapter, for having me on this call. Thank you so much for the opportunity to engage with you all. I certainly miss seeing everyone, and I know you all miss each other. So what a great way to be able to communicate and basically engage. So today, as Sheila mentioned, we're going to be talking about the 4 R's to your career refresh. So we're talking about reinventing, reposition, rebrand, and relaunching yourself. And this is so that you can put yourself in the best position to be successful. So here are our objectives for today. So we're going to talk about reinventing, which is auditing your skill set, talking about expanding, learning, and growing during this time. Then we're going to talk about reposition, which is basically how and where can you use your transferable skills, your unique talents, and your passion. Then we're going to talk about rebranding, to strengthen and optimize your personal brand, because frankly, we don't pay enough attention to our own personal brand. Then finally, relaunching. We're going to level up and expand your network so you can attract the right opportunities, because that's what it's all about right now. Okay, so Sheila explained a little bit about who I am. So founder and CEO of the J. Tucker Group. She talked about the Jamaica Project USA, and my book, It's Time for Your Transition, which is just so timely right now. So basically, I wanted to share these photos because they they're who I am. So on the top left is myself at one of the things I love to do is, training, sales, customer service leadership. So that's me presenting at the general session at a hotel management company conference. So I love to engage with our professionals. I love to see us grow and expand. On to the right of that top right is mentoring hospitality students. This is at Gwinnett Technical College here in Georgia, and I also do mentor some of these students as well. So what a great opportunity in this time for us to continue doing that. So guys, don't forget your JMU students, just to make sure that you are reaching out, you're connecting with them. They're in this just as we all are. At the bottom left is myself in Jamaica. This is my nonprofit work. I love to give back and basically just serve others in every capacity, whether I'm doing it through my company or through my nonprofit. So this is a photo with some girls in Jamaica, one of the schools we visit regularly. However, there are about 40 students in Jamaica that my nonprofit sponsors annually. We go into communities, and basically we are working to transform rural communities and schools through school projects, community projects, building out libraries, computer labs. To the right of that, I had another photo, but this one is dear to me because this shows who we are in hospitality. So I want to bring your attention to the two gentlemen on the right. In the hoodie, Dwayne Dean. He's a general manager at the Hilton here in Norcross, Atlanta. And then Mike is engineer. And so when their property closed, they called me up and said, we've got a pantry full of food. We need you to come and get it. And I certainly did. And my nonprofit were able to bless over 100 teachers for Teachers Appreciation Week at this local high school. And so in all this, look at all the incredible things that hospitality is doing. So I would like to go to a poll right now, and it's basically, what is your current status? Are you employed, furloughed, laid off, or are you a new entrepreneur? So I'll go ahead, launch that. And I'll give you a few moments to answer that question. Wow, look at the results already. I'm so encouraged. 58%, 56% employed. Much smaller percentage laid off. Okay. Give it another couple of minutes. Because I see 83% of you have voted so far. Okay, we're close to 100. We've got about 10 seconds left. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and close the poll at this time. Okay, and let's see, I'd like to go ahead and share the results. So hopefully you can all see this, but 58% are employed, which I'd say yay to that, considering all that's going on. 21% furloughed, so there is hope for you to be called back, and then 15% laid off, which in the scheme of what's been happening, that's a low percentage compared to the other two categories. And 6% of you are new entrepreneurs, so congratulations in launching something that you can use your special skills and talents for during this time. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And then we're going to keep things moving along. So let's talk about our new normal, because everything we do has to be seen through that lens. Our future goals, this big vision we have, this is the time to really look at redefining those and looking at it through what the new normal looks like. Because these goals and visions can only be achieved through innovation, reinvention, and realignment. And that's the purpose for this call today. And I'm so encouraged to see so many of you have been doing a lot during this time. I see our colleagues online and making the best use of this time. So let's talk about what's changed. Of course, employer versus employee market. I can tell you with my company doing task force in the past, That was one of the biggest pain points for the industry, is finding employees. There were just not enough employees for all the jobs that were available, because let's face it, our industry was growing astronomically. Another is employer expectations. It's doing more with less right now, and at reduced compensation and incentives. So when you really think about that, we have one person who is now performing multiple roles. Even if someone's in a sales position, maybe they used to just do corporate. Now they're the one person in the office. Or even, what about your director of sales? You're in there and you are the sales manager, you're the coordinator, you're detailing, you're even banquets, you're helping in housekeeping. So think about how those expectations will continue to evolve on the other side of this, and what it'll do for your opportunities. So increase in automation, of course, you can all see, and you've heard that, remote jobs, online delivery services, and of course, e-learning is such a big thing, even the way we network. So there are new opportunities to use your transferable skills, transition for your career, and also into entrepreneurship. And overall, there's a huge value adjustment and increased need for community, connectivity, convenience, and what about fulfilling experiences? It's no longer just about the hamster wheel. We have been stopped in our tracks, and it's been such a big evaluation period for all of us and for our lives. So how do you navigate and position yourself for success? We're talking about, you need to reinvent, you need to reposition yourself, you need to rebrand and relaunch yourself. And yes, you are a brand. So I'm so excited to be talking more about that. So before you can do all four of those, it's about developing the mindset, a positive mindset. Because, this period, this is the biggest pandemic we've all seen in our lifetime. So it's okay to know that you're going to feel shock, you're going to feel despair. It's just a really challenging time emotionally for everyone. And so here are some things that I've looked at, that I'll put in practice for myself, that I hope will help you. And I know those of us who are strong and usually happy, we make everyone feel good, and that's us in hospitality a lot. We look at this period and we want to think, okay, let's rise above it, let's go. And we really don't even want to stop to process how we're feeling. We can't, because then it's going to take the life out of us. It's going to knock us down. But I say process your feeling. It's almost like a grieving process. I know I've had that for a very short time, because I can only grieve and do the ugly cry for so long. It takes too much energy for me, but I've got to keep it moving. But it's okay to process your feeling and say, this is bad. Like, allow yourself to feel that way, because then you've got to get up and move on. Have an open mind. We've been very, very comfortable. Some of us have been locked into the same roles, maybe the last 8, 10 years, just basically the routine of our day-to-day. Have an open mind about what your future is going to look like. Have an open mind about how you're going to bring value to others and use your skills and talents. And keep in mind, this is a season. Nothing lasts forever. When you go back and look at everything that's happened in history, including the Great Depression, centuries, decades later, for any major catastrophe, look at what's happened. We're resilient people, and we will bounce back. So it's all about getting through it right now. One of the ways to get through it is develop a gratitude list. My gosh, there's so many things to be grateful for. I know that some days the world seems like it's falling apart, but look around, look at your family, the time you've had to spend together with your loved ones. You on this call are here. You're in your right mind today, and you're still healthy. So let's start with that. Developing a morning routine is a big one. Before you start your day, get in your own private space, get a chance to meditate, reflect, come up with a plan for your day. It makes you better prepared to handle whatever curveball is thrown your way, because let's face it, every day is like a box of chocolates now. It's like such a huge surprise, and not a good one. So if you prepare yourself mentally first thing before you get up, before the world demands your attention, then you'll be much better prepared to handle whatever comes your way. I would say with that also practice self-care and affirm your self-worth and value. We've been locked up for a while, but there are opportunities now to get out, maybe go to the park, practice social distancing, but do something that, that is active, that you love to enjoy, even if it's just going out for a walk, something to take care of yourself, because you come first at this point before you can even give up yourself to others. And this is just in general. Just know that you are still an important person in society, in your life, and you present a lot of value and self-worth to the people around you. Another big one is engage in the right community. So there's a lot to get involved with right now, but you've got to pick the right community. I'd say anything that's not uplifting, engaging, inspiring, that's not about taking action, that's not something you want to be a part of right now. You're all about moving forward. So really take the time to research what's going on, who you can get engaged with, and whether it's just your local community or also online communities. A huge one for me, as you can tell, is serving others. I mean, doesn't it make you feel better doing something for someone else that's less fortunate? Because really, it just takes it just takes the pressure off what you're doing. You get lost in your situation, and it's about someone else, and basically you uplifting them, and that in itself is going to make you feel better. So look for ways to serve, and it's as simple as sometimes serving family members. People just want to hear your voice, know that you're listening to them, that you care about them. It's a phone call, or it's rolling up your sleeves and going out and social distancing and basically serving. My nonprofit has been doing distributions here in Georgia. We've done it in the past at hotel employees like housekeeping, but now we're doing drive-through distributions and just doing it safely. But believe me, when I'm out there, I am not thinking about what we've lost in hospitality. I'm thinking about I'm using my hospitality skills and I'm spreading love and light in the world. And so that gets me excited and gives me a new perspective. All right, lastly here, I've got to say, you've got to think of yourself, you're a diamond, because this situation, this pandemic, all this is going to make or break us. And so look at how diamonds are formed. They are formed deep under the earth. They're formed in intense heat. They're formed under intense pressure. And then they rise from the ash to be worth top dollar. So I want to say that's you right now. Right now, you are strengthened in ways you could never have imagined. You're developing skill sets at a rapid pace that would take you a long time to do or you wouldn't even have thought about. Think how much better that you're going to become in this situation. So look at it as that. It might not look pretty, this learning opportunity we have, because that's what I call it. It might not look pretty, but in the long run, you're going to come out so much better, so much better in your area of expertise, in your strength, just in possessing that grit that we also need to have in this industry. So let's talk about reinventing, right? I call this my GIPPN framework because this is in everything I do. This is the process I go through in helping career professionals right now to figure out their next thing. But we're talking about vision. You've got to have a vision. They say without a vision, the people perish. We may have had this particular vision decades ago. It's time to look at it. It's time to look at the big picture of our lives and what we really want it to be. So you've got to clearly define that. You've got to really sit and figure out who you are as a person. What makes you tick? What are you passionate about? What motivates you? And you would naturally think everyone knows their identity, knows who they are, but this has been quite a reflective period for a lot of people, including myself. You reevaluate who you are and figure out what makes you you. What are you passionate about? And how is that translating into a purposeful career for you and basically in how you serve others generally in your life? Then it's also about your network. Who's in your network? What is your network like? When was the last time you intentionally built a really great network that's going to advance your goals and your dreams? Surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with the doers, with the believers, the people who believe in you, even when you don't see greatness in yourself. That's really what we want to look at honing right now and putting that in place. So in redefining big vision and core values, I just wanted to share what that looks like. You know, it's the big picture. Your big vision is the big picture of your life because it puts everything in perspective. It puts these probably, I would say, a couple of years in perspective that we're going to go through and know that this is not the end in itself. There's so much more beyond this. And if you were to keep your eyes on what that big vision is that you have established now for yourself, then it helps you get through all these different scenarios of life, all these challenges, one of which the major one we're currently going through. So it starts with the end in mind. It's the best case scenario for the ultimate outcome of your life. And really it should build on serving others and not just yourself. Naturally, it's a side effect. You know, you serve others and you get the rewards, you get a fulfilling career, and with that comes everything else, right? What is the reason you exist and how are you inspiring others? And another is your core values. It shapes who you are as an individual, who and what you support. It dictates your life decisions. So I can tell that's another reflective time for all of us right now. I know individuals who their core values have changed. It's not what it was even before this pandemic. You know, it's redefining even your family values or the career path you thought was also important. Life changed that. And now it's in perspective of what's really important, what's going to fulfill you, what's going to be rewarding. And so it could be quality time with family. It could be, you know, a job that, of course, is going to uphold the values that you have and this new big vision that you have. So let's define and talk about transferable skills, unique talents, and passion. Those need to be clearly defined. This is such, again, a whole reflective period for everyone. You know, so transferable skills, looking at what is it that you've learned that you can transfer to another job. You know, what does that look like? So some top transferable skills are, of course, you're that person that takes initiative. No one has to hold your hand and tell you all the time what to do. You are that planner. You plan, you execute, regardless of what's going on around you. You're a team player. You're a good communicator. You're solutions driven. And of course, top of the list is your customer service skills are, you know, just amazing. And so this is what every and any employer is looking for. So which one of those have you learned and strengthened over the years that you can then apply to another position within or outside of the industry? What is it that you feel you're good at? I've asked this question to several career professionals, and they go like, what am I good at? And sometimes because we're closest to it as individuals, we take what we're good at for granted. It's so natural to us that if we're to write it on paper, you would question whether that's something to write down. You know, am I right? So ask somebody, what is it that you're good at? What do you get asked to help with a lot? And even just think about being on property. Those of you who are still working right now, what is it that you're doing a lot now that you said to yourself, wow, I'm pretty good at doing this. I didn't realize it at first because it was natural to me, but now I have to do it. I have to fill all these other roles. What motivates you? That's another huge one for me because that's going to dictate what it's going to take to move you forward, what's going to excite you, what's going to inspire you, what's going to help you rise above where you are right now. A big question for me is always what you see yourself doing a decade from now that you're still going to enjoy, because that is the thing that you should be doing right now. What do you feel you bring to the table that is of value to others? What is the value that you bring to the table? And that's going to go back to what you think your unique talents, your true passion is, and all these skills that you've learned. This is such a good time, And I said it before, there's so many of you are taking advantage of this time to do this. Taking online courses, whether paid or free, attending all these webinars. So there's just a lot of, as I talked about e-learning before, there's just a lot of opportunities right now to learn online. And I am telling you right now, this is the time to take advantage of it. This is the time to also find great mentors. Look for people who are already where you'd like to be, connect with them, and help them to, let them know your intentions and what you need their help with. And this is such a great time to do it because everyone is either working remote, we're not able to run around as much as we used to, and so you never know who will have the time to really help you to level up your skills and help you to learn new ones. I know we are all, if you're not on property right now, and even if you are, a lot of your colleagues aren't on property. They're working either at home or laid off or furloughed. Now is a great time to continue the network with them. I know several colleagues who are great in one particular area, and you reach out and you say, you know what, you're so good with that, and I've always wanted to learn more about how to do that well. So can you show me? And you'd be surprised. So take advantage of the colleagues in your network, and then just in general, expand your network inside and outside of hospitality, because that is a way to learn new skills and just basically enhance the ones you currently have. All right, so in talking about reinventing, I just want to share about Neil Hibbert. Neil is a hospitality professional, and he's currently the president and owner of Sunsun Enterprises. He launched his company right during COVID, and it's starting to do really well. And he's a former director of sales and marketing. He's been on property. He's also been a director of sales for a couple of CVBs, and so loves this industry. But, he got furloughed and basically wanted to do his part to help bring the industry back, to lend his support and figuring out how can I do this. So he basically became a consultant. And so now he is out there, and his goal is really to help ownership, to help hotels get business levels back up, lend the support, so that they can hire you back, hire the employees who have been furloughed. So what an amazing serving opportunity for him, because that's the way he sees it. This is how I can help my industry. If I can reposition myself and reinvent myself to basically bring more value, use the skills that I have, and still advance in our industry. So let's talk about reposition. That's such a big one because it means it's time to think creative. It's time to exercise your creative and innovative muscles, because that's what we're talking about right now. So let's talk about new opportunities. How do you consider your new opportunities? And so if we go back to some of what has changed in the new normal, along with that is, where are the current opportunities in your industry? What types of properties? What location? I can say for the most part, as I look around and as I read all the articles, your select service properties, your destination properties, especially if you're close to a beach, are doing well. But even within that, what departments in my industry and in hospitality in general? You may work in a hotel, but there may be other areas in the entire scope of the hospitality industry that you can still lend your skill set to. Is there an opportunity to advance to a higher level position? And I want you all to think about that for a moment, because there's such a big shift that's happening right now. Through this and beyond this, there are veterans of our industry are going to be shifting out. Then there's a whole new level, a whole new group of new career professionals are going to be moving into hospitality, and some of those are hospitality students. So you've got to ask yourself, so where does that leave me? That leaves you at the highest level of expertise in this industry. This leaves you in a position to basically step up and step into one of these roles. so that you can continue to lead this new generation. You'll continue to basically maintain and, work at that higher level in our industry that's going to define hospitality moving forward. So there's a lot for you to be excited about when you think about that. So that is something that really is going to change the lives of so many, and you really don't realize how much is happening right now because we're disconnected from the property level. But basically, keep your eyes on, as we're going through this, positions that are being vacated, individuals that are retiring, and so on and so forth. So is now the time to also consider moving to another department. During this time of reflection, you may have said to yourself, you know what? As I've redefined my skill set and what I'm passionate about, I think I may want to be in operations somewhere in hospitality or be in sales or wherever else. But this is the time to take a look at that, especially if there are departments that need help, that need to hire back. So say you're furloughed and you're being called back, or if not, proactively reach out and say, if our property is reopening or you decide to take on more staff, I'd be open to coming in, learning, and working in this position until our hotel can grow back to those levels. I can move back into my position that I was furloughed from, or maybe I want to stay here. So think about that. Is there an opportunity to make a lateral move to another industry? So as I talk about transferable skill set, I tell you that when it comes down to customer service and basically just our jobs as hospitality professional with no days being the same, we're not a product industry because anyone can sell a room, right? We are selling trust, we're selling service. And so imagine being able to take that to another industry where that is not prevalent, another industry where you can still do sales or customer service, but you're bringing such a high level from the hospitality industry to that. Not that you are departing from the industry, but it's a chance to go ahead and use those skill sets for now if you're having difficulty landing a job in hospitality, because frankly, we all know it's going to take a couple of years, right? So what do we do during that time? So even if you say, let me go work for this other industry, I may be in sales or customer service, think about also the new skill sets you'll be developing, the new connections that you're going to be making, and all for the hospitality industry. I think when we all come back, we'll have so much more to offer. We'll have new relationships that we can then reach out to, whether to work in our industry or even for business opportunities, right? Because we've expanded our circle. And there are a couple of people, I think it was about 6% or so, that started their own business. I want to say congratulations. It's definitely a huge leap of faith. So whether you're doing it full-time or on the side, that opportunity still exists. So that's something for you to think about as well. So quickly, I want to talk about defining your new opportunities, because you might say, I still have no idea what I want to do, because you've been doing the same thing for so long and, you've been comfortable with it. You feel that's where you need to be. But I always say, take these two questions, you make the list. What is it that you don't want? Because sometimes you don't know what you want until you start with the don't want. So if you don't want a 50-hour work week, what's on the other side of that? You don't want to be in endless meetings. You don't want the office politics. Okay, then maybe remote work opportunity where you can work more efficiently and focus on getting the job done. You don't want to be stuck behind a desk. You don't want to be micromanaged, limited learning potential, or I'm in Atlanta, so this is a big one. Long commute in traffic. So think about individuals who now have the opportunity to look at remote opportunities to work. So start with that and create these lists, because as you start defining all of this, it's going to become clearer and clearer. And the goal is not really just to do this now for this pandemic, but just to look at this is your second round. This is your second take, I would say, as you do on a film set. This is your second take in life and our chance to do it even better. This is that break. This is that time. And so when we relaunch ourselves, we want to make sure that we're on the right path for the next couple of decades, right? Leading up to our big vision. All right, another person, Alan Wise. hospitality professional, former director of sales. He did launch his consulting company, and I know I'm talking about entrepreneurs here, but just stay with me and really the core of what I'm saying, which is you have to take action to do something. He went through the process of reinventing, repositioning, and being able to relaunch and be able to get clients. In fact, he's traveling right now. And who knew? He used to focus on doing global sales for a lot of international properties. So basically look at where is the business and how can I support the hospitality industry with the same mindset that I have got to be able to help my industry with my skill set get back on our feet and put our employees to work. And he's happily doing that right now. So he's doing that with domestic hotels and basically just finds it so rewarding and fulfilling to know he is a part of getting us back up and going. So at this time, I will stop and ask if there are any questions right now based on what I've spoken about or anything that you all would like to share. So I'll give it just a moment. So I'm not sure, Sheila, if anyone has any questions, but I would say, as I'm waiting to see if there's any, and then I'll continue moving on. There'll be another opportunity to ask questions at the end. But I would say, of course, there are a lot of questions with, not knowing what's going to happen in the future. But all I can say to everyone is do your best to prepare for, not just say prepare for the unknown, but just prepare yourself to be your best and operate in who you are. And just so that you are ready, as I move further in my presentation, then as we talk about how to rebrand and relaunch, then you will see exactly what I'm talking about.
And Jaquel, there is just one question, and they had asked that we forward the presentation. So we will do that for everyone on the. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go into rebranding, and I'm specifically talking about your personal brand, because companies, including yours, your hotel brand, they spend millions of dollars on personal branding. It's who they are, it's how they deliver their services, products, and all of that. I would say, as individuals, we do not spend enough time on our personal brand, and to make sure that it is maximized, that it is communicated well, it communicates our big vision and what we're all about. So that's what I'd like to go ahead and talk about. What is your personal brand? Your personal brand, we just move this back down. Your personal brand is the integrity of your character. It's who you are, what you stand for, your core values. It communicates your position as an authority in your area of expertise, or authority and area of expertise in hospitality. It is one consistent message, and it should serve both your personal and professional life. And the reason I say that is because employers are not just looking at your profile on LinkedIn. They're looking at social media as a whole to see who are you. And there's so much information that's available online. You really want to do that audit and to see how am I showing up in my life? And even if it's in your personal life, what is it saying about you? How do you want to be, your brand to be communicated, right? Even when we look at LinkedIn, when was the last time you updated your profile? I've worked with career professionals who have not updated LinkedIn since the last 2-3 jobs. They've learned skill sets. None of that's been updated. And I would even say with all the certifications you're getting now, courses and all that, make sure that that's updated and communicated. That's a big part of your brand. Your brand tells your unique story, your own authentic story, right? You're an individual. You have a lot that you bring to the table. So how do you refresh your brand? I know that in these difficult times we're tempted to look at somebody else and say, hey, what are they doing? Maybe I should be doing that too, even if it's not like within my skill set, but it looks like it's working for them. I would say stop comparing yourself to others and embrace what makes you unique and stay true to who you are. That is your strength, for yourself as a person and your personal brand. And all you need to focus on right now is how can I take that, who I am, to a whole other level, right? Change is inevitable. So you've got to be able to embrace the transition, embrace the transformation that you're going through. Remember, we talked about basically you're a diamond right now. You are under such immense pressure. I mean, look at everything in our industry, even in your own personal life. So you've got to be able to embrace this change that you're going through. Also, revamp your brand image. So I'm talking about your profile, your resume, making sure that once you do that, you're sharing it with colleagues and with your network on your relevant social media platforms. You're communicating who you are, where you're going, your level of expertise by consistently sharing valuable content. You want to engage others. You want to show them your support. You want to just display who you are, like I said, and where you are going. I mean, right now, everyone is looking online for everything. And what a great opportunity for you to be able to support your colleagues and even complete strangers. We have a different mindset, I love to say, in hospitality, because we're all about serving others. And so your take on things are sometimes a little different, more of even a positive outlook. We get ourselves through a lot of situations just from going through it daily on property. So we've built that resiliency. So it's time to really share and show that to others. Be transparent and share your story and your journey and your why. A lot's going on right now, and it's okay to share your journey. What are you going through? How are you getting through it? What's going on with your property, especially for those that are still working. I know that your journey is a little different. I want y'all to keep sharing that. If you're not able to connect with all your colleagues who are no longer on property right now, go online and share it so that they can experience this with you, be on your journey with you, cheer you on as you hold the fort down and continue to help bring business back for them. So I would just say at this moment too is saluting our hospitality frontline heroes, because we're talking about these guys who are on property right now with limited staff. They're doing every and anything, working all these positions. A lot of their salaries have been cut, or they're working remote, or even working as a consultant. And their goal is, I'm working hard to keep this thing going, because one day we'll come back. And guess what? They are doing it for you. They're doing it for all of us. So I've got to say kudos to them, and just reach out to them and offer your support and encouragement for all that they're doing. So as I talk about tips for updating your resume, here are a couple I like to share. I have several more that I certainly be able to have forwarded to you all. But use action buzzwords. You've managed, you've built, you've created, you've planned. So really talk about actionable words, what you've done, and then using facts and figures to back up your accomplishments. Because, anyone could say, hey, we made our sales goals every year, or, we did well on our GSS scores, or whatever the case is. But I would encourage you at this point to use facts. Use your figures, use your percentages, increase RevPAR by this much percentage, or made house profit by this much. So just be very, very specific. With that, you're identifying your major accomplishments and how they benefited your organization. So another employer looking at these 2 points can say, okay, this is what I know that they'll be able to bring to the table. This is what they are looking for. What are your accomplishments? And they want you to be able to do that for them. So avoid using cliches unless you're sharing compelling examples. So I'm a go-getter, I'm a self-starter, I'm a team player. You've got to back that up on your resume instead of just putting those words out there. They've got to be able to see it and say, yes, this person is, because they're clearly showing that through their accomplishments. Condensed information is a big one, especially when we've been doing what we've been doing for a while. We've got a lot of experience. We've got a lot we want to share. But also keep in mind when you're updating this resume, the way it's going to be read. There's so much going on right now. No one has the time to sit, an hour and read one resume. I mean, it's a few quick minutes to, scan a resume and look for what's important. So if you have something you could say impactfully in 4 words instead of 8 or 10, make sure that you're doing that. All right, so we're going to go into the last phase, which is relaunching. So relaunching, this is where we're going to talk about your new network. Because as you define what some of those specific new opportunities may be for you, whether it's a new job or whether it's advancing to a new level, that's going to determine your new network that you've got to build. This has got to be a very intentional network. Because, sometimes in the past, we're good, our job's doing well, we love it, and so we're not even very intentional about who we connect with or even new people. We stay within our circle and life is good. Now we've got to sit and evaluate that, and I would say it's about building that level 2 tier that's going to really be that network to support our big vision or the next big thing, next big step we're going to take, right? And of course, we're in the relationship business. It's going to be about who you know, who you're connecting with. So let's talk more about that. So as you're defining your ideal network, here are some questions to ask yourself because that's going to determine who you're going to connect with. So when you define who your potential, your ideal employers may be, then you want to look at who are these specific people? Are they department heads? Are they the owner? Who are they? So you've got to do your research and be able to reach out and connect and state your intention. State why you want to connect with them. If you've identified someone that's going to be a good connection, be specific about why you want to connect with them. Is it because they're the person who's going to actually give you that opportunity, or is it that you'd like them to mentor you so you can be able to get that opportunity later on? Is it because you want them to recommend or refer you? What is it? So you've got to define and maybe come up with a list of these different categories, a list of people under each. Then you start building out their network, that network. And then ask yourself, where can you connect with them? What platforms are they on? Find that, do your research. There's a lot online, or LinkedIn, you may have a lot of connections. You might see that, hey, I want to connect with this person. So-and-so I know is already connected with them. Let me reach out to them, my colleague, and ask them to introduce me or help me learn a little bit more about this person so I can really get connected with them. And how best, are you sending a LinkedIn message? Are you able to get ahead of their email and shoot them an email, get a hold of their phone number and give them a call? It has to start somewhere. And so, of course, if you're connecting with someone on LinkedIn, always send them a message and state why you want to connect with them, right? They should be able to see, okay, this is where this person is trying to go, and they should know, okay, I think I have what it takes to help them as they're suggesting. So make sure there's always some type of introductory message, and then the goal is to then take that offline to even get further connected, whether by email or by phone conversation. And are you positioned to attract them? Because sometimes we tend to do a lot of the seeking about, hey, I want this opportunity. What's next for me? I want to connect with someone. Let me do the chasing. But sometimes it's how you position yourself that will automatically attract them. So how are you doing that? And again, goes back to your brand image. What is it that you have out there? So talking through that, here are some ways that you can attract your ideal network, right? I mentioned this before. Ensure your personal brand, your image, your message, and your profile is consistent across all these platforms, right? You're going to be sharing various posts. A lot of the time we use our platforms for, just for colleagues, friends, families, but think bigger about what you're putting out there, what it says about you and your skill set. Does it communicate your area of expertise and show that you can bring value or the value you're going to bring in whatever situation? Also, you've got to network where they network. And this right now, there are a lot of groups and communities, organizations. A lot of it has gone online. because we're not able to meet in person. So you've got to think about expanding where you network, join various organizations that your ideal network is involved with. And I would say always show up as a consummate professional. And even if we're meeting online right now, I know sometimes we're in our home or whatever, but always be the consummate professional, because you never know who's watching. And then there's so much more beyond COVID and us just doing these Zoom meetings right now, these go-to webinars. Basically, there are a lot of people who are going to be working remote. So I would say start getting in that professional state, show up as such. Think about how you would show up on property. I would say if you're showing up to a webinar or an online networking event, show up as a professional. Let's be well-groomed. Let's communicate the next level that we're going to. Let's look and act the part and dress the part, okay? So ask for testimonials. You know, when you look at your profiles, are there testimonials and recommendations there from colleagues, you know, individuals or clients you've done a great job for? Just make sure that you're making this visible on your profile. And now is a really great time to settle things down and do that and build that brand story, that brand profile you have. Because think about it, when you start reaching out to your ideal connection, it basically is, they're going to start looking at your profile. That comes next. So you want to make sure that you're positioned to attract them. And so they want to know more about you and to connect with you. Follow your ideal connections. You want to like, comment, and share their posts, not like in a stalker way, but, you know, look at the content they're putting out. There is a reason you want to connect with them. So you like, you know, comment, and even from that, I've had several individuals who connected with me just because I've engaged with their posts. And in the past, some of these have been, you know, various VPs of sales, and that's how it started, because, you know, you're developing, you know, relationships with like-minded individuals and showing that through the comments that you're making. All righty, so I am going to recap. We've basically coming up to the end very quickly. So it's about reinventing, repositioning, rebrand, and relaunching. So reinvent yourself, redefine your big vision at this point, your core values, define your transferable skills, your unique talents, and true passion. And so reposition yourself. You know, learn new skills, be open to considering new opportunities in your industry, and your new vision and core values are going to help determine a lot of that. You know, there's sometimes not so great stories during this COVID, so you've got to think now, say you're furloughed, laid off, and who next do you want to work for, and do they uphold these? Are you looking to go to another industry or maybe start your business? Rebrand. You are a brand, so that make sure that your brand is optimized, it's clearly communicated. You know, your resume and all your profiles are updated on all the platforms you're active on. Relaunch. You got to level up and expand your network inside and outside the industry. Find new mentors. Connect with those individuals that are going to help you land your next opportunity. More importantly for me is you've got to develop the mindset for positive outlook. It starts with everything. And you could do and say all this, go on all the webinars and take all the courses, but you've got to take action. You've got to put it in action. And ultimately, you're a diamond in the making. The pressure, it is going to make us, because we're resilient and we're going to get through that. And think about how much more value we're going to add after all this to our industry, how much better it's going to be, because we're so hungry. We're almost at the desperation point to get it back, because we want to do what we love. So I think we're even going to be more grateful for our industry. And the things that were small to us, I mean, we're going to have so much more strength and depth. The small problems that used to be there, you know, are just going to be so small now, a little molehill instead of a mountain. And we're going to be able to make decisions quickly. We're going to be able to level up and step into new and higher roles and help transition the next generation of professionals into our industry and do it well. All right, and I know this process works because Neil has gone through this whole relaunching, reposition, reinvent, rebrand process. You all can read what he has to say when you do get the presentation. But basically, he talks about not sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. You got to create an opportunity for yourself, because in this disruption, there's opportunity. And also with Alan as well, here's what he's had to say. And what they're also talking about is my Career Transition Accelerator Masterclass, which is based off the book I wrote, It's Time for Your Transition. So just basically helping my professionals, whether hospitality or otherwise, figure out their next big thing. So whether it's taking it to a higher level position and how to find those opportunities, transition to another department, or whether industry or whatever the case is, there is this process to help you figure it out, get a plan in place, and get moving on it. So let's connect. I love to do that. I am on social media platforms, of course, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and Facebook. The J Tucker Group has a Facebook page as well. So I would love to connect with you all on LinkedIn, see how much more I can assist you. I love to listen, give whatever advice that I can, and just to build community. So if you have any questions for me, you can certainly reach out to me after. And, anything that you feel I've shared that you'd like to hear more about or get some assistance with. Tools and resources. There are a couple of checklists that I'll be sharing with HSMAI to send to you all. But also you can join my community to receive regular updates, whether inspiration, tools and resources, various checklists of things that I've talked about. And you could go to jtucker.com, the jtuckergroup.com, and on the homepage and sign up for our email list. And so at this point, I will go to any questions. So Sheila, let me know if there are any questions.
There is not any questions at this time, so we can move to the next slide.
Okay, perfect. All right, the next slide is my thank you very much. I know even with maybe furloughed, laid off, or whatever, we're still in a busy world, and you all took the time to be on this call today to engage with me. And I hope what I had to share will help you all, and I appreciate your time. And so with that, I will turn it back over to you, Sheila.
Thank you so very much. So, Jaquel, thank you again for taking time to share your wisdom and advice, especially during this time of our new normal. I believe you've given everyone quite a bit to think about, and I especially like the section on ways to consider what this next phase could look like on refreshing your own personal brand. And for all that joined us, I hope you've gained some helpful takeaways as well. Remember, you will receive a link to today's recording. We're also proud to announce that HSMAI is seeking nominations for Hospitality Heroes. Regardless of the circumstances, heroes rise to meet the occasion. Please consider nominating an industry professional you think deserves recognition for their efforts to take a leadership position, champion a cause, or create a program or opportunity that has directly benefited industry workers, medical personnel, first responders, or communities impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. To nominate a hero, please visit hsmaidc.org. And what better way to close out our webinar, but with the next slide, but with the announcements of our future events. So mark your calendars for Wednesday, August 19th for our town hall featuring John Hack with TravelClick and Bob Gilbert with HSMAI. And then on Wednesday, September 16th, we have Partnering with Attractions to Drive Business. And then on Thursday, September 24th for our annual and most anticipated State of the Industry. All three events will be virtual. Additional details will be forthcoming, but can also be found at hsmaidc.org. And lastly, on behalf of Ellen Wilson, Managing Director, and our entire advisory board, we wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And this now ends our webinar.